everyone, welcome to day 4 of Vlogmas. Today's video is going to be another sit down kind of video. Just because today's gonna be a super simple day, and so there's not gonna be really anything interesting to vlog. So welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hoth, and let's get into it.
Let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Okay, so for today's video, I kind of wanted to go over a topic that is widely known but hardly explained. And that topic is health testing regarding dogs and health testing regarding breeders and the different health testing, like what it is, what different organizations / programs they can get health testing through, and just kind of everything about health testing. So I'm gonna go sit down, get comfy, and let's get into it. Okay, now that I'm comfy, we can get into it. So first, I just want to show you, I don't know if you guys remember my Halloween like crew neck that kind of looks like the same type of thing. This is from the same shop, and they have a little golden doodle Christmas one. How cute is that? So I tried to show you guys because that's what I'm wearing today. Okay, so health testing. So I have my little book here, so I make sure I don't miss anything. So a lot of breeders talk about this, and a lot of people who are looking for a dog talk about this, but I don't feel like it is always explained. Like, what is health testing? What does it entail? What is it? You know, it's a very broad word, and so I feel like that needs to be explained. Who can health test their dogs? Anyone. If you have a dog in your home, you can health test your dog. You just have to go to a veterinarian who is licensed and is able to do it, but you can test whatever dog you want. Breeders normally test parent dogs or future parent dogs in their program. So I think that's what it's aimed for, and what it's meant for is for breeding programs, but like I said, anyone can get it done. The two types of health testing to me separate into genetic health testing and structural health testing. So the first one, genetic health testing, is where you send off a saliva sample or a DNA sample to a facility like Embark or Animal Genetics or Canine Health Check and Paw Print. There's a ton of different programs that you can do this through. We normally use Embark because I like the percentages that it has. So it will say, okay, well, this golden doodle is about this percentage golden retriever and this percentage of poodle. And I really like that because a goal of my program is to still have a high percentage of golden retriever in my golden doodle lines. And then we also use Paw Print and Animal Genetics to back up things. So Paw Print and Animal Genetics have individual testing, so you can test for a specific gene or disease. And we always back up Embark with Animal Genetics or Paw Print, one of the two. So you're sending a saliva sample or a DNA sample to this facility. What they do is they look at that sample and they completely map out the entire DNA of the dog and the cells, and I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, they laid out a roadmap for you so that you know exactly what your dog carries as far as colors. What if they carry like furnishings? So if they have a teddy bear face, or, I mean, that's the most simple way to explain it. If they have the shedding genes, like, they take your dog and just put it on a piece of paper, everything this dog has. This testing is normally pretty inexpensive. I know that Embark ranges from like $150 to $200 for every single test. It can get expensive, like if you have a whole litter to test, or if you have 10 dogs in your program to test. And then I know that Paw Print and Animal Genetics are a little bit more expensive, just because like you can buy the individual ones, and an entire panel is a little bit more expensive than Embark. But that overall is the genetic testing process and what it is. Genetic testing is a super crucial part of our program because it's the first portion of health testing that our parent dogs and our future parent dogs go through. So the first thing that we do is genetic test them, because if they have any genetic like things that we don't want, like if they're a carrier of anything, if they have a gene or disease or are prone to disease based on their genes that we don't want, they're done. That's the easiest thing for me to say, okay, well, they have this, I'm done. And so that's like the first level of our health testing, and that's the first thing that we do. And then that is pretty much all of genetic health testing. I can go more in depth on it, but it is a lot. And so I'm just going to scratch the surface. The next thing is the structural health testing. And so this to me is OFA, which is the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals, PenHIP. So that program is specifically just for hips, to evaluate the hips. And then I believe there's a couple of other programs, but those are the two that we mainly use. And I'll be going over just those two. Okay, so let's talk a little bit how OFA was started and why OFA is a thing. So OFA stands for the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals. It was started by a man named John in 1966. When hip dysplasia began to impact the performance of his dogs, he organized an initial meeting with representatives of the veterinarian community, and this led to the formation and incorporation of OFA. The initial mission to provide radiographic evaluation, data management, and genetic counseling for canine hip dysplasia. Basically, that they just encourage orthopedic and genetic testing in animals and to prevent orthopedic and genetic diseases. So that's kind of the OFA Foundation and kind of what it is. In my opinion, OFA is a foundation, and their job is to help evaluate your breeding quality dogs and your breeding dogs to make sure that you aren't passing on, like they said, orthopedic or genetic diseases, or potentially being able to do that. So how it works is that I take my dogs to our local vet clinic that is certified or licensed to do OFA x-rays and send them into the foundation. So I call them, I schedule the appointment, and then I go in. They take x-rays of the joints. So they take x-rays of the hips if I want the hips done, the elbows if I want the elbows done, patellas. They take all of those x-rays of those joints. So if it's a official art, like if it's a joint, they take an x-ray of it. But for cardiac and eyes, they can't take an x-ray of the heart and the eyes like that. They just evaluate them. So like the heart, they listen to the heart and evaluate that. The eyes, I had to drive to a ophthalmologist specifically for animals, and she evaluated my dog's eyes. Like they dilated the eyes. She did basically like an eye exam for humans, but on the dogs, to make sure that there was nothing that they were carrying that would pass on to their offspring. Okay, so for like example, so they take your results once you get the x-rays in, and the vet will send them in, and then they grade them. So they have severe hip dysplasia, moderate, mild, borderline, fair, good, and excellent hip joint conformation. So those are the categories of specifically just for hips. So based on these x-rays, a vet at OFA evaluates them, and they compare them to different, like the breed standard. They also like compare them to different ones, but I mean, they see so many x-rays, so they know like a good one from a bad one. But they give you a score or a grade depending on what the x-ray shows. So some can come back as borderline, some can come back as fair, some can come back as excellent, some can come back as good. You just don't know what it's going to come back as until you get that certificate back. With OFA, let's see, they also do, so like cardiac, it just says that they pass. So our vet that we go to for OFAs and stuff, he listens to their heart, gives them a pass or fail based on that. If he hears anything remotely like something, then they won't pass, and I'll have to go to a cardiac specialist and have them pass. You can do different levels of the cardiac, but we just do the basic one. That's the one that we do. But that's OFA. So the next thing that we do is PenHIP. So I do PenHIP on all of my dogs. They take more x-rays and they're specifically just for hips. And they give you a scale. So I don't know if you can see. I'll put it like right here. So basically they give you a scale of like low, mid, moderate, and high risk. So then they have a gray, and that's basically like the breed, like where the breed falls as far as like the highest and the lowest that they have on record. And then there's a little black dot, and that is where the average is. Like for my understanding, that's where the breed average is. If the breeder's watching this and I'm totally wrong, please tell me. But that's kind of where the like the breed average is. So then they're going to tell you where your dog falls. And that's the green line with the dot, and it tells you exactly where your dog falls. So then that's nice to see, because then you know, okay, well, here's Marley's, and Marley is way above the average, and she's in the mild risk, and she's on the higher end of the poodles. So you have a better understanding as far as her hips on that. So that's why we do PenHIP as well. That's pretty much all that I have to say about OFA and PenHIP. So as far as Hoth Doodles, I wanted to tell you what we do as far as health testing. So we go by the GANA. If I'm saying that wrong, please let me know. GANA, the Golden Doodle Association of Northern America standards. And we also go by the AKC. With AKC, because I breed doodles, I test to the poodle and golden retriever. So it's not just like, because they don't have, if you're a golden doodle, golden doodles aren't AKC registered, so, or registerable. So they don't have like, if you have a golden doodle, this is the health testing requirement. So I do poodle and golden retriever, and I make sure that they have both of them and they meet both requirements. Ghana is very similar with that. I believe all of the same tests are the same. Like I believe that yeah. All the tests are the same as far as like what I do. They also follow the AKC, and there's different levels as far as like if you're a red or blue ribbon, and that's the kind of health testing that you do. But we health test all of our dogs to the blue ribbon, which is the highest standard in Ghana. So that's what we do, just because my goal is to produce happy, healthy puppies. My goal for my program is to produce the puppies that are going to be, you know, structurally and genetically sound. And that's why health testing is so important to me. And I feel like more people need to know and understand like what health testing is and why it should be done. But yeah, that's just what we do. And I hope this video kind of answered some questions. I know it's just like it's like a skim of the surface. Like, you could talk about health testing with breeders all day long. Like, we could talk multiple days for health testing. And I just kind of scratched the surface because I feel like it's something, like I said, that needs to be talked about more and needs to be understood. But it's hard to explain at the same time. So I hope this answered some questions about health testing. And if you have any more health testing questions, please drop them in the comments. I will try and answer them as best as I can. And also, disclaimer, like, this is just to my knowledge, this is my opinion. I am not a veterinarian. I am just a breeder. Like, this is just my opinion, and this is what I've learned, and this is what I do. And if you do things differently, like, that's totally fine. Like I said, this is just my program and my opinion. But I hope this helped at least a couple of you guys to understand health testing and what it is. But thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and we will see you guys tomorrow for day 5.
Let's go outside. We can hang out on